Hi, it's Dr. Ariel Schwartz. I wanted to come on today to talk about something that is kind of a cool topic. It's about the upward spiral, and I'll contrast it for a moment by talking about the downward spiral, and then we'll talk about the upward spiral. So the downward spiral basically is functioning on something we call state-dependent memory, which is that when I'm feeling a difficult emotion, when I'm feeling hopeless, when I'm feeling pain, when I've experienced a recent loss, I'm more likely to remember other times when I felt the same way. When I'm feeling afraid, I'm more likely to remember other times that I felt afraid. When I feel sad, other experiences of sadness will kind of come to the surface. And that's just the neurobiology of how we're wired, that there's a state that we experience ourselves in, and then other times that we were in that same emotional state or physiological state, they're accessible inside of that feeling. Some of you may have heard of, little strategies that we can use with state-dependent memory. For example, if you're studying and you're drinking caffeine, you might want to have that caffeine in your system when you're taking a test because it will help you better remember the material that you've studied. Or the scent of lavender, right? That might be tied in sensorially to a certain experience. So, of course, trauma, it has a very strong element to the state-dependent memory because when we're having a re-experiencing symptom, that is the evoking of that neural network and the self state that's linked to that traumatic event, and other associated images or how we felt, it's all kind of coming to the surface. And then maybe if that single incident trauma is connected to many other traumatic events from your past, they're all kind of webbed together and they're all going to come to the surface through that gateway. Now, there is something we can do to counteract this, and it doesn't mean that we don't want to attend to the pain of loss or grief or trauma, but it allows us to be more choice about when we're going to attend to that and how much, and pacing ourselves along the way. And that is the ability to catch the upward spiral, which means that when we feel good, when we remember times that we felt good, we're more likely to access other times that we have felt loved, connected, safe, at ease, joyful, beauty, right? Like we have times that we might cultivate that. And so we can catch, in that case, the upward spiral where we are going to spend time actually savoring and cultivating positive self-state, positive memories. And then through the gates of that self-experience, we'll be more likely to remember other times that we felt loved, connected, safe, at ease, and so forth. And so we can build that capacity. It's something that Rick Hanson speaks about in his book, Hardwiring Happiness, and in his work on resilience. And of course, it's what I speak about in my book on post-traumatic growth. So when we're attending to our inner experience, some of the ways that we can build positive state is by catching how that positive state feels in the body. Now, the body's a tricky one because sometimes when we drop into the felt sense in the body, the first available feeling is what doesn't feel good, what feels yucky. Again, we want to attend to that with the right space and the right support, but we can also build our capacity to find just a little bit of ease. Is there a little bit of positive state that you can access with your breath, or how you might move your body or stretch? For me, it's one of the things that I love about yoga, and it's one of the things that I love about spending time in nature, is that it helps me access a embodied sense of positive state that becomes kind of like I want to keep going back. I just want to keep getting more of it. So it becomes self-motivating. Another way to catch a positive self state, and I've just mentioned it in there, is to spend time in nature, right? Nature has ample opportunities to help us find beauty or awe or gratitude for a sunset or a sunrise if you're up early enough, right? And so when we can take time to enjoy those sensory details of beauty, whether it is in, a nature walk, it's on a trail, or maybe it's in your garden. Maybe it's even bringing in some natural items into your home, right? Whether it's flowers or or I have a pine cone, right? And just enjoying that sensory detail of something beautiful, a seashell, a stone, a crystal, right? Something that from the natural world that helps us connect in that positive way. Another strategy is to practice gratitude, right? To keep a gratitude journal, or to keep a jar and you write things that you're grateful for and place them in the jar, and you can pull them back out and read about them. And gratitude's a funny one. In my experience of it, sometimes it feels a little forced at the beginning, but then the more that I practice it, I catch the upward spiral. It's like, oh, wait a second. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for the food that I eat. I'm grateful for my clothes. I'm grateful for the fact that I was able to get this flower. I'm grateful for my plant, right? And it kind of becomes easier and easier the more that we catch that wave. Another access point for the upward spiral is connection, a connection with others, connection with people that are uplifting for us. And so if we find someone that cares for us, that is a joy to be around, right, it becomes self-motivating and easier and more nourishing to keep going towards that. And compassion, right? Another beautiful practice, can be tricky to employ, right? Sometimes the initial edge of trying to apply self-compassion is that we meet up against our self-critic, or we come up against a feeling of unworthiness. And sometimes we have to actively counter that or contain those negative states so that we can build the positive. Now, what leads us to carry feelings of unworthiness is very worthy of attention. We want to attend to that in right time, right place, with the right support. There's usually some reason why we carry those wounds, but we want to know that that doesn't have to dominate our awareness all the time. So this kind of practice of attuning to what feels good or nurturing to us can help counteract that a little bit. And the last one that I'll name here is to allow yourself to be inspired, to kind of turn towards how other people have worked through challenges or overcome adversity, and kind of tuning into their stories, because there's something important and uplifting when we see how other people have been able to work through challenge. So when we're feeling stuck in a trauma, whether it's a recent event or the accumulation of childhood traumas, when we can turn towards the stories of other people who have overcome that kind of adversity and really experience their own growth, that can inspire us to know that that's a possibility. Now, the other side of it is that you might be that inspiration for someone else, right? The act of sharing your story might help other people know what's possible and really find their sense of hope. So that's where that community becomes self-generating. And when we're willing to be courageous and share our hardships and how we've overcome, that will invite others into that upward spiral. So with that said, if you want to use the comments to both kind of maybe reach out and share a vulnerable moment, but also kind of what has helped you access your own inner sense of strength, or your own compassion, or a sense that love is greater than fear, that would be a beautiful way to help inspire each other in the shared community. I will share with you that this necklace that I'm wearing, which I'm sure you can't see what it says from there, but it says love is greater than fear. And sometimes it's just nice to be reminded that in this world where there's a lot of challenge and sometimes not a lot of examples, that love can be that strong. That's the purpose of this video today, is to just share my thoughts and feelings about how we can access that in ourselves and inspire each other. So thank you.